Foxgloves are a showstopper in the cottage garden and cut flower arrangements. And with the 5 tips in this video, you'll be a foxglove growing pro. I'm Angela from Growing in the Garden. My garden is in Mesa, Arizona. I want to help you succeed even if you're gardening in tough conditions. Let's start by learning a little bit about these beautiful flowers. There are 2 types. Biennials are the oldest varieties and the most common. They grow easily in cooler climates. They form a rosette their first year and then bloom the second year. They drop seed and easily come back year after year. But in hot climates, that type does not survive the summer and may not bloom at all. Luckily for us warm climate growers, there is a different type, a hybrid that blooms its first year and can be grown as an annual. That's the type we'll be talking about today. As a reminder, all parts of foxglove are poisonous. Use care and caution around pets and children. Now on to the tips. The first tip is to choose one of those hybrid varieties that bloom in the first year and start it indoors. Here are 3 excellent varieties to try. Dalmatian has beautiful, full-looking blooms. Camelot has large, full center spikes and good side shoots. And finally, Foxy. It also blooms the first year with white, cream, purple, and rose blooms up to 3 feet tall. When you're starting indoors, remember that light is required for germination, so lightly sow the seeds and cover with vermiculite. Mist lightly and use a humidity dome until they germinate. The next tip is to plant at the best time for your climate. Start seeds indoors about 12 weeks before your planting date. Here in the low desert, I start seeds indoors in July and August. In most areas, you'll plant outside about 6 weeks before your first fall frost. Here in the low desert, I plant outside from September through October. Foxgloves don't mind the cold. They are hardy down to -10 degrees Fahrenheit. The third tip is to choose the best location. One nice thing about foxgloves is they don't mind shadier conditions. If you have a shady spot in your garden, plant them there. That will even help them last longer into the spring. They need rich, well-draining soil with plenty of compost. Don't choose a location that is wet and soggy through the winter. That will make the roots rot. If you're growing for cut flowers, space them closer together, about 6 inches. But if you're like me and love to enjoy the blooms in the garden, space them about 1 foot apart. Remember that foxgloves grow quite tall and they are striking against a fence or in the back of borders. Tip number 4, now we wait. After planting, they'll settle in and not seem to grow much. In fact, they'll go a little bit dormant during the coldest months. During those colder months, they probably won't be bothered by pests, but make sure they have good airflow and that will prevent any fungal diseases. As temperatures warm in the spring, growth will take off and you'll see those rosettes get larger and then flower shoots will form. Enjoy the blooms. If you're growing for cut flowers, the best time to harvest is when those first blooms open. If the bees pollinate them, they will fall off quickly and won't last as long in the vase. But I love leaving them in the landscape and enjoying the flowers and the wildlife they attract. And finally, keep those spent blooms harvested so they will produce more. As the blooms begin to fade, it's time to cut this one back, and then these side shoots will form and you'll have more blooms. Or you can leave the flowers in place and seeds will form. Each blossom will form a little seed pod, and in this will be seeds. Leave it on the plant until it's dry and the seeds are fully developed. As temperatures heat up, the plants will die back. Remove the spent plants at the end of the season. If you live somewhere where it doesn't get too hot, the plants might survive the summer and come back next year. Have you grown foxgloves? If not, add them to your planting list for next season.